Hi there.
Sue, welcome.
Good to see you.
To you, welcome to In the Area Productions presents a conversation with you. Sue Bennett, the outgoing Executive Director of Leadership Tomorrow. Congratulations. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been a big part of LT's life, Ben.
You've been a
So
big part of my life. Thank you.
yeah,
What a privilege to get to share space with you.
I know. I agree.
Uh, how are you today? Where are your head and heart at right now? How you showing up
You
here?
know, I just got back from meeting the team on a site visit and I witnessed a car accident.
Ooh, gosh,
So
okay.
I'm actually feeling a little, I got off the phone with a state trooper. It was a hit and run and
Oh,
was
God.
this north on I-5 and it was rainy and the guy just kept going and the other car just spun around and I don't know, it's such a good reminder about, you just have this moment and
Hmm.
everybody's fine, like nobody was hurt. That's a good thing, but I'm surprised at how often I need to be reminded
Yeah.
that we just we just can take nothing for granted. We have to live every moment consciously and we have to drive slowly in the rain. I slowed down a fair bit after that.
Yeah. I'm glad everybody's okay. Sorry that you're
Yeah.
showing up a little shook. Thank you for naming that. I always pride myself on these conversations. Show up as you are. You don't have to put on a face. Just however you're feeling is just perfect for right now, and we'll take you any way we can get you. So don't feel like you have to fake anything. And if you need to take a pause at any time, just let me know. But
Thank you.
yeah, I lost my homie Jesse, 29 years old, dropped dead from a brain hemorrhage this summer. Tragic, two young kids, and I miss him. And he was such a vibrant human being, and a reminder that yeah, this life is precious, and I hope got half my life left, but I'm also under no illusion that can't, my number could be called any day, cancer, car accident, brain
Yeah.
hemorrhage. And so it's a cruel world, but I'm trying to just soak up every little breath of gratitude because I'm really thankful, have a lot to be thankful for. And I'm thankful to be here with you and appreciate you holding space for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. So remind us, how long have you been with Leadership Tomorrow, and what what different titles has your business card read over the years?
Well, I went through the program in 1994, so I've known about LT for a long, long, long time. And then I joined as the senior leadership something or another, senior leadership director maybe, in 2013. Became executive director in 2017. And so I've been there about 10 years, this latest iteration, and witnessed just a lot of growth and evolution and in the world and internally and in
Yeah.
organizationally. It's been quite a 10 years.
The understatement of the year there. Um, and you've done a really remarkable job of helping support this evolution. And there's been a few moments where, as a beloved, you know, uh, uh, somebody who loves the organization and is cheering for the organization, has been so positively influenced, where I've kind of been looking like, okay, Leadership Tomorrow could, be at risk of stagnating.
Hmm.
You just keep, leveling up, and I say you, but I mean you and the team and the organization and everybody around just keep,
Yeah.
having this radical humility to look at what do we need to evolve? How can we be doing things differently and better? So I really, commend you for that. You know, one of the beautiful things about Leadership Tomorrow is this deep, robust network of just buying
Hmm.
people, in the core program cohort. You got 80 some people every year, thousands of alumni like me over the years, big old board and a robust curriculum committee, people who ride for LT.
Yeah.
But that you also got a lot of cooks in the kitchen. You got a lot of opinions coming at you. And I've seen you and the team handle this with grace, but my goodness, you got to have some thick skin. And I'm curious, how have you managed as a leader of
Hmm.
leaders to take in all these varying opinions and takes and affirmations and haters and everything in between, and stayed center and not just lost your mind, and B, sort of digested all this input and kind of still rally people around this shared vision of growth and North Star.
Yeah,
Talk to me about
yeah,
that, because that's hard.
yeah. It's a great question. I mean, Leadership Tomorrow attracts really smart, engaged, passionate people with opinions. So we're asking for a lot of opinions just by the virtue of the program and the kinds of people that come to it. I think one of my superpowers is that I naturally am attracted to and or am interested in multiple sides of issues.
Mhm.
I really believe there are so many different ways to look at issues, and that honestly, we are stronger and we are better and we are braver and we are more effective when we consider ideas beyond our own.
Mhm.
And and so I welcome the opportunity to hear and learn and think about things in ways I haven't before. I think another part of that is I'm naturally curious. And curiosity is a funny thing because what I'm curious about mostly is how people come to think the way they do. Um, and there's such an opening when you think about curiosity that way. It's not so much about defending a certain point of view, but more a curiosity about how people come to that point of view. And that opens up all kinds of opportunities for conversations.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, you know that Leadership Tomorrow is really about collective leadership, this idea that, no one sector has the answer to all the problems. We can't rely on the government to solve our crisis around affordable housing. We all, nonprofit, public, private sector folks, have all got to be working together. And that idea of collective leadership and working together requires multiple perspectives and multiple opinions and different points of view. And so uh, I think I think it comes naturally to me, and given the desire and mission that I have and this organization has of to solving complex problems, you have to welcome and want those different points of view.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say that's one of your superpowers. And shout out to my Leadership Tomorrow classmate, Julie Pham, Dr. Julie Pham, who's,
Absolutely.
company Curiosity Based is really trying to build this, curiosity muscles. And her book, Seven Forms of Respect, really gets at that. So I love that theme of curiosity. And I think
Yeah.
another great book from a local legend, Monica Guzman here. I never thought of it that way. And I know, you know, um,
Absolutely. Two incredible inspirational leaders and helped inspire us to have curiosity as one of our 6 values
mhm.
and as one of the rubrics that we look for when we're selecting class members. It's a very important
Love that.
quality.
I love
Yeah.
that. Now, you talked about collective leadership. I had the privilege, you invited me to speak to the class last year, 80 some people across sectors, and I was asked to speak about shared leadership, distributed leadership, collective leadership. Under your leadership, the core program has really evolved to look more intentionally at this idea of distributed power or different just ways of leading, which again, shout out to like the evolution of just continuing to see where the trends are in the sector and getting out in front of them. What does you talked a little bit about collective leadership, but
Mm.
what trends are you seeing around leadership that are inspiring you and giving you hope, and
Hmm.
where are you feeling stuck or curious yourself?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I do think this idea of shared leadership and sharing power and privilege and resources is something that many, many, many people are working toward and thinking about and changing the way in which they solve problems and bring people together around the table. And some of the principles in my mind that are a part of that are having the people closest to the work and with the most knowledge and experience be leading the way. It does mean listening to multiple points of view, even when it's hard, even when you think you already have an idea. Shared leadership means welcoming other points of view. Um, it takes more time, I think, shared leadership does, but it's worth it if you believe fundamentally that the outcome is better. And there's an old adage, you know, if you want commitment, you need involvement. And so this idea that the more people are involved in a conversation, a discussion, a solution, the more committed they will be to that solution. So I think shared leadership, collective leadership, sharing power and privilege is something that we're learning more about how to do specifically, but I do think that's the way of the future. Many groups have done it for a long time, and we can learn from many other cultures who have always listened to the folks closest to the issue to solve the problems.
Yeah.
I think the other trend that I've seen over the life of LT is a view that leadership is not so much about position or title, but it's more an action. I think in our very early days, we attracted and looked for positional leadership. And now I think we're interested in leadership from many positions and with many different powers of influence or focus of influence. I can't quite think of the word I'm looking for here. But people who take action, whether it's from their seat as a neighbor, whether it's from their organization, whether it's from a volunteer role they have, whether it's from a board that they sit on, whether it's from an organization they run, leadership is really about taking action to make change. And I think we are embracing a much wider range of leaders in our region and having a much greater impact because we're seeing leadership everywhere as something that we can help people get stronger, more confident, have a network to be more successful, have people who are willing to work with them. But it's more about how we move forward together than it is about a specific position or role.
Yeah, thanks. Shout out to another one of my Leadership Tomorrow classmates, Rachika Tulshan, who at the graduation spoke a lot about that. And you know, it doesn't matter on the title, how do we all influence and bring people along with us up the hill while we're getting pulled up ourselves.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you acknowledging just like the time it takes. You know, I always say if something's a priority, how does it show up in our time and our budget? I think I got that from Janet Bogich, who I know you know as well. One of Janet Bogichisms, but time and budget. And a lot of this, more liberated workplace cultures and shared leadership is so powerful and beautiful, but it takes time, especially to norm on culture. And I just appreciate you acknowledging that. And it's time well spent, but in this urgent world we live, it's hard to create that container for time. And some of the stuff is pretty nuanced. I mean, we started naming our cultural norms, which sounds simple, but like, hey, if I send you an email, what's the expectation of how quickly you're going to respond? That's culture, but we don't talk about that. We just default to this is how it's done. And that becomes a guessing game. And that usually benefits people who look like me, you know? And so some of this stuff is really time consuming. And I think you're right. If people are involved, they'll feel more invested if the decision-making framework is clear ahead of time. What I've seen a lot is people get really involved and feel really invested, and then leadership makes a decision in a vacuum, and it's like, well, why'd you ask my opinion? Why'd you even include me? You know, so I just want to underscore, like, okay, that's all fine and good if, or as long as we're really clear going in, like how the final decision is going to get made. And there's lots of different ways to do that, but that's where we can get in trouble too. Like we get people brought along and invested, and then it's like, well, come on.
No, I think that's really true. Don't ask the question if you're not going to use the information that you get in some way. But one way around
how you're going to use it. Is it going to inform you, or is it going to be, help, or other people make a decision,
But one way around that is to be sure that the people who are empowered to make the decision are the ones who are impacted by the solution.
Yes.
So if you are engaging the people most invested in the solution, most impacted by the solution, then their input is going to matter and is going to be taken into account because they're the ones sitting at the table being a part of it.
But again, you got to clarify at the end of the day, if we don't see eye to eye, whose call is this and how are we making this decision? Is it a consensus thing where we're all agreeing and, a fist of five? Is it I'm the ultimate decision maker, but I value you? Is it that I'm, you all make the decision and I get a vote? I'm, that's where things get murky. And that's why I got a hat on, because I got a really bad receding hairline from you know, when these things were clear and there wasn't that trust on the team, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're
This
so
wasn't
right.
this wasn't great before I was an executive director. I'm telling you know, this stuff's hard, man.
Yeah,
Um,
it is hard.
Speaking of which, okay, I mean, your job is dope. You get to meet all these great people, and I've loved watching you in action. Not only is your superpower curiosity, Sue, but you would take in feedback, but you would transparently report back what you're hearing, what you're doing
Mm.
about it, and what you're not doing about it. I remember one time you get all these surveys afterwards, and you would report back on your mic, like, here's what we heard, blah, blah, blah. And one time it was like, I heard from a lot of people that we needed more coffee. Well, guess what? That coffee was donated, and I'm sorry, that's all you get. And I was like, damn. But I was like, you read what people wrote, you acknowledged it, and you closed that feedback loop transparently. I might have not liked it. I might have wanted more coffee, but at the end of the day, you're like, this is it. I'm like, I can't argue with that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you
yeah,
for hearing that feedback and
yeah,
being straight with us.
yeah,
But your job is hard. You know, as you announce your departure, congratulations again. I hope as you come down this, twilight of your decade plus at Leadership Tomorrow, you are just soaking in the impact you've had, the relationships you've made, and
mm,
and the influence you've had across so many different circles in our region, and really kind of like a leader of leaders. Like you're not a chest banging. Like I just really appreciate seeing you in action. Um, but I know it's hard. As you announce your departure, I've had a lot of people reach out recruiting me to apply, throw my hat in the ring, asking me because they know
you
I
would have
love
been great. You would have been a great
it.
candidate.
But honestly, I'm
Absolutely.
like, man, I don't know if I could do it. That's a hard ass job, man. That's a hard job you
Yeah,
have. And how have you managed to stay centered? Like, what has worked for your mental health game
yeah,
leading this, small but mighty organization with all these stakeholders and boards and committees and
yeah,
budgets and recruitment? I mean, I was on the hiring and selection committee doing interviews, and even that alone was so, intensive just to recruit the people doing the
yeah,
interviews and train people like me to do the interviews. And here's how the rubric works. And you were in all those meetings. I mean, you got a lot to do and not a huge budget and not a huge staff.
yeah,
Leadership
yeah,
Tomorrow just keeps punching above its weight class. And how have you stayed centered, or have you, or maybe
yeah.
you're just a hot mess and I don't know it.
I have my days, believe me. I do want to say one thing about running a small nonprofit because I think you've described it beautifully. It
Traumatic.
it is hard.
It's
It's
so hard.
hard. The bigger nonprofits and bigger organizations have staff. I get calls periodically. I got a call the other day asking for my marketing team to put something together. Like my marketing team. Like, I'm the marketing team. And somebody said, would you have your scheduler, put this on your calendar? Like I do my own calendaring. So it is a unique kind of a job. Everything from I do get to talk to the mayor. I do get to meet incredible people doing incredible things. I'm also the one that at 5 in the morning is picking up the coffee at Starbucks, putting
Hmm.
it in my car,
Hmm.
spilling it all over on the whatever event we're going to. And it is all of that. A
Yeah.
small nonprofit
Yeah.
ED does all of that. And I think, for me, I was trained in the very early philosophy of servant leadership,
Hmm.
which I know was something we talked a lot about when you went through the program too. And the whole idea of servant leadership is you exist to empower other people to be the best they can be. And I just embrace that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is I can do that helps my team be as effective as they can be, that helps the board be as effective as they can be, that helps the screening and selection volunteers who are helping select the next year's class do the very best job they can in an unbiased and very thoughtful kind of way, identify folks who are curious, for example, and want to serve our community. Like whatever that is, that's what I want to do because that's where I can be of most use. So just a shout out to all those nonprofit EDs out there, a small little, I see you, you're amazing, you're doing great work. Um,
Yeah.
and huge benefits to it. And I mean, honestly, the way I survive, I tell this to so many people. I read in the paper about horrible things happening and people who are unkind to each other, and huge systemic problems that we are not solving. I mean, my day-to-day life is filled with people trying to solve that. Like, I am spending every day with staff, volunteers, leaders in the community who are taking their personal and professional time and energy to make a change in an area that they care about. And I'm motivated every day by that. My world's filled with people, and my fundamental belief is there are more of that kind of people than any other kind of people. The kind of people that will stop when the car gets hit in the middle of I-5 and make sure the person's okay, that'll run into a building that's burning, that'll talk to the person on the street who's unhoused to show some connection and human kindness. There's so many people like that, and those people are attracted to LT, and I get to spend my time with them, and that's what keeps me going.
That's pretty dope. Man, that's awesome. You can sit with that gratitude and
Yeah,
that.
it's really cool. There's so many good people in this world, and so many people who are doing things that matter, who are making change. Sometimes it's big change, sometimes it's little change, but they are all doing something that's moving us towards a community that's more equitable, more resilient, where we can all thrive. I see it every day.
I love it. Okay, any spoilers? What's next for you? What's on the horizon for Sue Bennett?
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep a little bit more.
Hibernate?
Yeah,
Should we
I'm
pick you
gonna
up in
travel.
2027?
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep. I've been so out of practice, but I'm going to travel. I'm really excited. I am going to Vietnam and to Japan and to Bali. And then I don't know. People tell me that if I stay open, something exciting is bound to emerge, and I do hope something exciting emerges. One thing I'm working on that I'm really, really excited about, I don't know if you know this, Ben, you probably do, but Leadership Tomorrow is one of hundreds of civic leadership programs around the country. And Leadership Tomorrow is one of the biggest and most innovative, and been around the longest, having the most impact. And there's about 15 or 20 of us that we call ourselves a pace setter. And I chair that group, and we meet every month, the CEOs of those organizations, to talk about ways we can lead the field. Like, what can we do for civic leadership programs around the country to help advance all of our missions to create communities where everyone thrives? And we're looking at bringing resources to our communities to help build skills in the broad community to decrease polarization. I mean, if we can't talk to each other about hard things, if we really refuse to talk to people who see things differently, we just are not going to move forward in the way we need to move forward. And I'm excited about the possibility of bringing some programming here that can help us all, me included, enhance our ability to sit with conflict, to really listen to other folks, and to seek the humanity in each other so that we can move forward together.
I love it. Well, enjoy some well-deserved rest, some well-deserved travel. I have not a doubt in my mind, not one iota, shred of a doubt, that you will attract exciting opportunities on the horizon. And I just want to tip my cap to you for your leadership, your remarkable tenure at Leadership Tomorrow. Thank you for the impact you've had on my life personally, and thank you for joining Space with Indie Area Productions today.
Well, thank you, Ben, and thank you for the impact you've had such impact on LT, on me, on our community. You are a bright light in this world, and you make everything better just by being a part of it. So that is a true thing. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. Peace and love, my friend. Mwah.
Thank you, Ben. Good
All
to
right.
see you.
Bye.
Bye.